Tonight, I talk football, and Paul, well, he's also going to talk football.
Fresh breeze. So how you find the lockdown then as a club then?
To be fair, it weren't really sort of obviously we still had a game to go when it all sort of cut in and right, we're stopping this, we're stopping that. So obviously we wanted to finish the season. We still had Mulbarton to play, which we really were looking forward to that game because obviously they had the slight edge on us with regards games in hand, and if we would have beaten them, they could have still finished above us, sort of thing. But it would have made it they couldn't have dropped any more points. So we were really looking forward to that game. And going to their place, because obviously they've got a fantastic facilities and nice ground sort of thing. So it would have been nice to go to. That's what we've really enjoyed this season, is going to all these new places and things like that. So we were looking forward to that one. But obviously, with regards to lockdown cutting in, and then obviously football's finished and that's the end. And then we were obviously waiting to see what was going to be the comms decisions with regards who to promote and whether it was going to be null and void or whether they were going to do that. So it turned out the season was null and void, but then they were moving teams about, so we were then waiting for that. And it was, to be fair, it weren't no one else's fault. It was just a case of, well, is it going to get started? No. Right. What do we do now? Right. No, we're going to null and void it. Right. So what do we do with regards to league? So there was loads of processes what I had to go through, and it was just, I don't know about you, but everything seemed to take forever in lockdown. You felt like you were waiting a month for something which was 2 days or whatever. It was just.
I remember when you got really itchy feet at the start. You was in the store shed having a tidy up, weren't you?
yeah. That was my fix, if you will. Like I say, I went even a couple of times when we were only allowed out. When we started, I think it was when we started going. You were allowed to drive to your exercise or whatever it was. A couple of times I just went up the pitch and had a tidy up and just had a walk round and tried to fill a few holes in and whatnot and just check around, make sure everything was safe and secure and that. And then they started changing it so you could actually do your exercise unlimited and things like that. So then we left a couple of balls hidden at the pitch and a couple of lads were going down there and just playing on their own sort of thing, as using that as their exercise. And like I say, everyone struggled with it for different reasons. But I kept in contact with all of my players, and every week we were having sort of the house party chats and things like that, and we were trying to get through it all together, really, just having sort of group chats on a Friday night on a house party and getting a few beers in and just trying to deal with it as best we could, sort of thing.
If you say that, because I remember saying to Lee Simons, I remember saying on his podcast how really tight-knit you boys are. And, it's more of a family than a club with you guys, isn't it, really?
Well, like I say, we got to the stage, I think, when it was like lockdown was like halfway through and it was really tough, and we were sort of arranging to meet on Saturday nights and just have a house party and have a few beers and spoke about what we hadn't done that week, really. So we were sort of meeting up in. My birthday was in lockdown as well. We were on full lockdown in my birthday, and we got sort of 8 of the lads together and we had a house party, birthday party for me, and pretty sad times, really. That was one of my highlights of lockdown.
Yeah, no, it's been a sort of difficult time to have. So I'd imagine you had a lot of headaches trying to organise training once you got the green light then.
Yeah, well, especially for us, because obviously, like, we've only got, I don't know, I think there's about 3 or 4 players who live sort of close to the village, if you will, where we're based. And then we've got sort of a few Galston base lads, and we've got a few Lowestoft base lads, and we've got a few Norwich base lads sort of thing. So in a sense, it was more easier to do the small group stuff because of the fact we had people based in Norwich. So all we done was set training groups up where people were. So again, they didn't have to travel and almost just dictated a leader. I got round to a few of the groups and looked after things a couple of times, but we just sort of maintained it on our own little thing, and then just kept the groups together, and just we sort of set training plans up, and then the people who were looking after the group followed the training plans as such, and we just tried to do a bit of everything. Obviously, everything sort of new in the sense of having to social distance while training, because you want to go in and put someone up in the air after all this tension sort of thing. So it was just trying to just trying to find the best way possible, sort of thing. And like I say, we start as soon as we were allowed to do the sort of groups of 5 plus a coach. The players were contacting me saying, "Look, let's just get 5 of us together and let's do something," sort of thing. So we, as soon as we were allowed to do it, we were straight on it, and we sort of got a group in Norwich. We had a group based in Loddon. We had a group based in sort of Lowestoft Way, and we had a group based in Galston, sort of thing. And we just cracked on with it and just done what we could.
So really, it actually worked in your favour then. The guidelines are actually.
Yeah, it didn't really affect us, like I say, because they didn't want people to travel unnecessarily and stuff like that. So basically, well, like I say, luckily we had a group of 5 Norwich Way, and we had to make a few sort of adjustments here and there, and a couple of people had to go to that one week or to that one week just to keep the numbers sort of 5 at times. But yeah, everyone just sort of was happy to get out and get on with it, really.
So how many podgy players did you have come back then?
Well, a few of them will be the first to admit that they sort of had times of doubt over lockdown and whatnot. It was a case of as soon as they were allowed to do unlimited exercise, because I think that was the first rule. What coming after your hour's walk, they said, right, you can now go out unlimited.
Yeah.
I sort of said to the lads, look, you got to do something. Why not go for runs? Why not? Why not? Sort of thing. So it was almost a case of we tried to take the positive out of it and say, well, let's use the time. Let's try and get fitter then. It got to a stage where a few people weren't interested in doing it, and I don't need to do this. But we just sort of said, look, the last couple of years obviously the year before when we were in the Lower Stofton District League, we finished second behind Rentham. Then this year we were in second again behind Rentham. But again, we could have finished third, and it was in Mole Barton's hands, but we still had to play them. So, like I say, it was a case of we all got together sort of at separate times, and we sort of said, what do we want to do this season? Do we want to finish second again? If that's the case, then stay at home and watch EastEnders of an evening. Yeah. But if you don't want that to be the case, go and do your runs. And it got to the case, everyone was agreed that we didn't want to finish second again. We didn't want to finish third. So it was a case of, right, set us targets. And every week people have been doing their targets. Again, we've lost a couple of people because they didn't want to do it. But it was a case of, I sort of took the initiative to say, look, either we all do it or we don't. Because if you've got weak links in the chain and people don't think they should be doing it, or a couple of people are, I'm naturally fit anyway. So my argument was, well, what could you do if you were super fit then?
Yeah.
You're telling me, I'm fit. I don't doubt you're fitter than others. But imagine how good you'd be if you were super fit. Why not push yourself that side to it, sort of thing, and say. So again, we lost a couple of players, but we've also gained a couple of players who sort of liked what we were doing and said, I want to be a part of that. I want to do that. And again, as a group, we're tight knit at the moment. We've retained, like I say, we've lost 1 from last year's group, and we've gained 2, if you will. So as a group, everyone's re-signed, everyone's the same as we were, and we'll be strong this year. We look, everyone's pulling their weight, everyone's training hard already, and we're still sort of, if you will, got the reins on. But
yeah, I suppose yourself and the lads obviously feel like there's a lot of unfinished business, really, and not so much a point to prove, but a frustrating end to the season, really.
Yeah, a bit of that. But again, for the last, since that was the second season I've been doing the first team. So I'd done the reserves previous to that, and that was my second season with the first team. And it always seemed to be an excuse. It always seemed to be, again, we should have done this, we should have done that. And then we sort of, I spoke to the group, because we've obviously got our group chat. I spoke to the group and just put a video on there saying, let's not leave a stone unturned this league. Let's not have an excuse. Let's, as you can see, sort of from the fitness side, what the lads have been doing, it was a case of, right, either you want to really challenge and not say, if we were fitter, we would have won that game last season, or if we were this, we could have done better last season. Everyone's been partaking in training, but I think, like I said, the lockdown thing has helped in the sense that people want to get out again. People want to go training. People want to do this just to get out. Almost that stuck down has made people realise how much they want to get out.
I must say, Paul, what sort of makes me laugh is when you see the Prem games now, and there's obviously no crowd, and people are moaning how dull it can be, everything else, I'm thinking you clearly don't go and support your local non-league team, because with all due respect, give it 15, 20, 30 people, that is pretty much a Sunday morning or a Saturday afternoon for some.
Exactly. But like I say, it's the one thing I've been really impressed with the lads so far, and is accepting the challenge, because we've said some of them I've set targets to run close on to 20k a week, sort of thing, and obviously you have to tailor it to everyone's needs, because obviously some people are not going to be able to do that physically. They can't, but that's not their strength, sort of thing. They're not whizzes, they're not full of fitness, but they've all stood up and they've all said, all right, well, even if some of the, let's say, unfitter lads have done 2 runs of 3k every week, sort of thing, but anything is better than nothing. That's what we've sort of,
absolutely.
Any improvement is better than no improvement.
Yeah. Well, speaking of improvements, I see that where the grassroots are concerned, you've been busy up at the Highfields, haven't you? With the pitch and the irrigation and everything else. It seems like you've been busy there as much as you have off it, really.
We actually missed a trick, because we were waiting for the announcement to come about, right, null and void, that's the season over. And then we were sort of like, well, what's going to be the next step? And we waited 2 months before we started our pitch work. If we would have started in April, our pitch could have been sort of, but we sort of waited a bit of time. And Carl, our groundsman who's Evergreens, he's been absolutely superb the last sort of month, 6 weeks. He's been up there basically twice a week. He's been putting the new irrigation system, the sort of sprinkler system in with Scott, and Ben's been up there and they've been doing that. And then we've had it deep seeded and we've had it scarified and cut twice a week, sort of thing. Because obviously the weather's been perfect for the pitch recently. It's had rain, sun, warm, and then it's sort of been a couple of weeks. So now we've got the sprinkler system. But the pitch, I went up there yesterday, and it's one of the best I've ever seen it. The goalmouths are looking sort of really thing. And again, it's even the silly things. We've even had people up recently like cleaning all the sponsor boards just so it looks spick and span, just out of boredom and wanting something to do. So we've got a few spaces where we're trying to fill the sponsorship up and things like this, but it all looks clean and ready, if you know what I mean.
Well, I even saw the tea hut got a lick of paint as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the tea hut and the shed got a lick of paint. And our other Gary Holmes, who's like one of our main sponsors, he sponsors both our vets teams. He's been up there a few times, and again, we spoke about it. Me and you spoke about it privately, sort of thing. We said these people, because Gary's actually on our committee, and he owns Holmes Builders.
Yeah,
we've seen them sort of drive. Gary's on our committee, and he actually owns that. And the work he puts in and behind the scenes and things like that, it's you can't put a price on it, sort of thing. The guidance he gives us to what we should be doing with our dugouts, and I've got an apprentice about. I'm gonna give the changing rooms a lick of paint, sort of thing, and we'll get them. We'll get some replacement benches in. We're gonna sand them down, sort of, and just people putting in that sort of time. And then, like you said, the people cleaning the tea hut and painting the fence, and it's the silly little bits we're trying to improve on now, like the goal stanchions, painting them so they match the nets, and cleaning the goals themselves, and just all with new corner flags, sort of thing. We're just really trying to polish it up, if you will. And because we've got the 5 teams there, as we've discussed, it's about now taking the next step and pushing on that bit further and really improving everywhere we can, sort of thing. All the little tiny details of we know we've got great facilities, and we're lucky to have that, and the people that put these efforts in place have done such a good job. But now it's about the next step as well. Well, how else can we improve? It's not about sitting there thinking, oh, yeah, we've got the best changing rooms. Oh, we've got fantastic dugouts. Well, we're also looking to have the best pitch. We want the best sort of pitch side markings. We're going to put the goals, the nets behind the goals. We want to go, but we want to get a little stand in there. There's no end to what we want to do, sort of thing. We're looking to always improve as a club. And again, it's all of us pushing it, all of us trying to, right, how can we do this? How can we do that? And luckily, like I said, we've got fantastic people at the club who are guiding us in the right ways of how to do it and what we need to do and what's the best way to do it, sort of thing. So we're lucky in that sense.
Yeah, well, I think I saw on Twitter, I stand to be corrected, but did you also purchase some ball nets for those wayward shots that you sometimes see?
Yeah, we had to get quite a big one of them. We've got them. We've purchased them for both sides. For obviously both ends of the pitch. Sorry, to stop it going in the farmer's yard as well, and then stop it going and hitting cars and whatnot. But we were quite aware that there's actually quite a lot of work what goes into fitting them as well. And again, Gary's Holmes is steering us in the right direction to getting them fitted. But it's all right saying, "Oh, we're going to get these posts." The fitting, there's so much work to just fitting them. But like I say,
I was going to say, I've seen plenty of away goalkeepers go for a long walk into the farmer's yard sometimes.
Again, but these are the silly things that we're trying to think of to make our ground one of the best, and what we do as a club. And again, like you say, even the warm up before, everyone's we must lose fucking 20 balls a season just through disappearing in the field and getting punctured or whatever. So I know it sounds silly, but it's almost an investment in the fact it'll probably save us 20 balls a year, and whether that then pays for itself over 10 years, who knows? But
well, I must admit, I was speaking to another club on social media who's done the same sort of thing, and they were saying, it's an expense for no return. And I said, well, I disagree, because you put those ball nets up. I said, once that ball hits that net and doesn't go 30, 40 feet plus, you might be able to keep the momentum of the game going in your favour, for all you know. So, when you look at it...
It might also go against you that you can't slow the game down.
Absolutely. But I was trying to look at the positive side of things.
I'm more practical.
Speaking of practical, though, unfortunately, the only thing to COVID-19 was your trip abroad was obviously cancelled for you and the lads.
Well, yeah, it was obviously because it's our centenary this year, so it was sort of tied in with that. But it took us a while, but the travel company we've done it all through has just rescheduled it. So basically, we've had to put it off for a year, and it'll be now next April. We're looking at going away. Well,
so just out of interest, who do you play, and how does it all work then, and how did you get a connection?
Scott's got like a travel firm he uses, and basically it's all just done through them, and they set it up for you, and then they arrange a game for us to play whilst we're there. I think a few years ago we actually played 2 when we were out there, but again, by the time Saturday afternoon comes, a few of the lads are a bit worse for wear, so it actually just turns into a bit of a kickabout, if you will. You can imagine, especially in
you don't go and play like AC Milan and nothing like that, then.
No. To be fair, we've played at some nice grounds as well, though, like proper little grounds and that, and it's more of a sort of, it's all done properly, and we've played in little stadiums and that. But it's a good crack for the lads. It's more just the bonding side of it as well. Do you know what I mean? No, we're not expected to go out there and tear up any roots the way we're playing football. It's just a bonding session for the lads and all the boys to get together and enjoy each other's company and have a few beers and get away from the missus.
You say about a bonding thing, Paul. I also noticed on one thing that I love seeing you guys do is on social media is your Meet a Miller. Now, I think that's fantastic, because for people like me, I turn up the camera and you think, oh God, Shaun's here again. What the hell's going to happen this time? Bits and pieces. But with Meet a Miller, you actually get to kind of know individuals and a little bit of history, which is
we're gonna continue. Really. We actually sort of we done that as we were getting a bit bored with certain things, so we done that just to try and sort of give people, like you say, a look into it. But what we've recently and new signings and all the other bits we've got to do, we're actually going to restart that as the season starts and sort of do it on a weekly basis then. We started it now, and then it got to the stage of, we got to announce this, and we didn't want to sort of flood social media and constantly be doing it. So it's going to be a case, we're going to pick that up again when the season starts and run through basically all 5 teams as the season goes on. But again, we nicked that, in fairness, and this is a shout out to them, we actually nicked that off Coddenham.
Okay.
Because they I can't remember what they done it. They done it as something else. I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what they called it. And then a few of the lads said, Ben got on there and said, I like this idea. We're going to have to do this. I think Meet a Miller sounds good, sort of thing. So we basically nicked it off them. I can't remember what it was called from
It's quite catchy. It's a bit like your video of that the player unveiling in a Batman costume, and you know, you do realise, right? You do realise that video has over 3,000 hits on Twitter, don't you?
It's good, isn't it?
It's gone absolutely nuts, don't you?
Yeah. Again, the thing is, because like I say, the Sunday team's a bit of a new experiment. We had a Sunday team years ago, and we saw a gap, if you will, because obviously with the Lowestoft League and the Yarmouth League folding, and what happened was there was a bit of interest from the Saturday lads, and like we had sort of 3 or 4 from both teams who wanted to do the Sunday thing as well. So we thought, well, we've got 7 or 8 who really want to do this, and we knew they were a reliable 7 or 8. And then what we said to the others, look, if we need more players, we'll let anyone who's playing Saturday sort of play. And everyone said, oh yeah, if you're sure, I'll play. But then Ben said, well, let's put it onto social media and see what sort of interest we get. Just say we're looking for players. We're going to join the Norwich. Well, we hope to join the Norwich League. We got checked in that by them a couple of times as well, because we were signing players and we hadn't even been registered. So they looked like they give us a little slap on the wrist. Oh, you haven't been registered yet. So it was like, all right, we better not say no more sort of thing. We kept our nose clean for a little while. But the response it was the calibre of players who wanted to play for us. And then Ben and myself and Scott have been speaking for sort of years about sort of attracting better players, and we got to do this, we got to improve this. And when we started this Sunday team, the response we got, we were blown away. Like the players we've got Thurlow Nunn players who want to come along and join, and we've got some local legends like Adam Thompson. He's won it all, and he was one of the first to reply, yeah, I'll come and play for you boys. And he's only been to our pitch a couple of times, and he said, oh, a good bunch of lads, yeah, I'd have some of that. People like that in local football to say they wanted to come and play for us, and even some teams we class as rivals, if you will, they was like, yeah, we'll come and play for your Sundays. And it was like, wow. And we just took it down to, it must be our facilities. People were happy to come and sort of, it's not too far from Yarmouth, it's not too far from Lowestoft. It's good for them, all right. We're going to have some trips to Longham and places like that. But again, what we've done in a sneaky way is we've signed all the Saturday players to the Sunday team, and then if we're short, we can always call on them sort of thing. So the Sunday team is its own team in all senses, but we have got sort of cover because you and I both know how Sunday league football works. You go for a few beers on Saturday and it turns into I ain't going to football tomorrow. But again, that's what it is, and we've put sort of measures in place. Hopefully we won't have to call no games off because we don't. And like I said, the calibre of player we've attracted, and the Furlough Nunn lads and a few in Prem and things like this, we were blown away. We were like, oh wow, people want to come and play for us, sort of thing. So we were really impressed with that. And like I say, we put it down to what we've done with our facilities and what we're offering, sort of thing. And it was like, right, well, Ben's looking after it, sort of thing. And it's just we're going to see how it goes. Again, we don't plan to just be one of these who sort of come into it one year and then, this is crap, we're not doing this no more, sort of thing. We plan to go all the way to the top. We'll work our way out from the bottom if that's what the powers decide, and we'll see how far we can go with it. But the squad Ben and others have assembled is a decent squad.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I obviously speaking to a lot of managers, understand how difficult sometimes even a Saturday can be, especially when you've got a real good hour and a half, 2-hour trip, and all of a sudden people have got injuries and bits and pieces. There's a lot of frustration. And as you say, Sunday league, obviously itself can be a right nightmare. But even a Saturday side, Paul, is one thing. But the one thing really for me, what you guys have done, which is incredible, you've got a vets reserve team. I go to a lot of vets games, and sometimes they've got 9 players, call it off there and then. But you've actually managed to field a vets reserve team. That's a little bit I've never, that's quite an achievement, to be fair.
Again, it's coincidental it arrived with the facility change and things like this. And once we'd done what we'd done with regards to the facilities, and we got a few Sunday players over, we had one Sunday team, and the next thing you knew, we were sort of struggling at one point to get a Sunday team out, and then before you knew it, we had that much interest locally to say, right, well, we're going to have to start another one, sort of thing. And we didn't want the thing what we had. We didn't want to turn players away. We didn't want anyone to come along and say, "Oh, no, we've got enough, thanks." We just looked at it the other way and said, "Well, let's try for 2. And a few times last year, both teams sort of struggled with regards results, but I don't think there was no time when we didn't sort of. I think there may have even been one with regards to vets reserves that had to cancel because they didn't have enough players or something like that. But again, like you say, to field 2 sides in a vets league is not fair going. But it'll be even tougher this year because, like you've seen as well, there's Hemsby now have started a vets team, and there's the one in Yarmouth. I can't remember. I think there's what's the pub called? No, I don't know what it is, man. Oliver Twist, I think it is. They've got a vets team, and they've got some very good players around that way. They've started a vets team, and like I say, they're going to be a very strong team. So it'll be hard to get 2 teams again, but we'll give it a try, see what happens.
Well, to be honest, Paul, like I say, with everything going off the pitch and things that are going on the pitch, I've just got it down here. As of 2011, 298 population where you boys are, which only 119 homes, and you've now got 5 teams. I suppose all we're sort of really missing now is to get more of the community down there on a Saturday or a Sunday morning or whatever.
Well, again, we've got a few loyal supporters. We've got a few who turn up every week sort of thing, who just come down from every home game, who come down from the village, and they'll come and stop in, and we know sort of they'll always get a free cup of tea and we look after them sort of thing. But we're looking, we don't want to rest on the fact that, we're good at the moment sort of thing. We've got good facilities. We've got good this. We're looking to attract more people. We're looking, obviously, we've got Loddon down the road. They've got their Grasshoppers. They've got 2 very good teams. They've got good facilities as well. They've got their little clubhouse and things like that. So, and then we go the other way, sort of where we are. We can go into Galston, if you will. And again, you've got loads of teams. Belton. I live in Belton, and Belton down the road from me got fantastic facilities. They've done all their pitch up. They've got new goals. They've got new dugouts. They've little tea bars sort of thing. Everyone's stepping their game up. So we've got to not just stand there and think, we've got good changing rooms. We've got good dugouts. We've got a tea hut. What do we do next? Why not look at putting a little stand in there? And I don't know if you've seen these things you can do now. You can like convert a container and put like little seats in it and things like this.
It's funny you say that. I think Tony Cascarino on Twitter, I think he did something like that, and he tweeted something like that. So you're right in what you say. There are containers which are now being converted into like a little stand, basically.
Yeah, and we're constantly, like I say, we're gonna fence off the rest of the pitch. We're putting the goals, the nets up behind the goals. We want to go as far as we can as a club. We don't want to put a ceiling on it. We're going to sort of say, we're not going to say, all right, we'll stop now then, sort of thing. We want to get a little stand there. We want to, if it came to it, we'd like to put floodlights in. We don't want to say, this is all we can do. We want to get to senior football. We want to be a good force sort of thing. We want to improve our facilities further, put a clubhouse on there, take some more of the remaining farmland and put a training pitch on there, if you will. We're not going to stop until I'm not going to stop pushing until we've done whatever we can to improve as a club. And hopefully that will make players want to come and join you, sort of thing. You can only put these facilities in place if you've got a load of dickheads running it. No one's going to want to come and play anyway. So it's a case of, if we then look at it and we're still not attracting it, there's got to be other reasons, which we'll then look at of what we can change in that sense. Yeah,
well, to be fair, there's obviously a great competitiveness there, because just sort of touching on the fitness side of things again, I can imagine with your lads that the Strava group is probably quite competitive, I must imagine.
It's competitive, but again, there's a couple of them who are, we call him the machine at the moment, and everyone sort of who follow us on Twitter and follow us on Strava and whatnot. My captain and the Sunday team manager, Ben, he's just a monster. He's doing like gas hill twice a week. He bikes to work and bikes back, which is like 5 or 6K a morning. He then goes out and does 3 or 4 runs. The other week, he cycled something like 80 kilometres on a Saturday. He literally cycled from Norwich to the Highfield. He went round and got a couple of people signed up for the Sunday team who lived in Loddon and somewhere else. And then he cycled back. We don't like, it was just, but to be fair to him, we spoke at the end of last season, and he was disappointed in how his season went, and he'd got injured a couple of times, he'd put on a bit of weight, which he thought caused his injuries, and he was the first to turn around, and it was like, what do you want to do about it? You can sit there moaning about it, or you can get fit and do something about it. And he was the first to take up the challenge, and to be fair, he's just blitzed the challenge now. You can set him any target you want, and he don't just double it, he trebles it, and it's just, again, that's a captain for you. In my opinion, that's what they do. They lead by example. It's not about trying to say to everyone else, well, you've got to do this. He's the first to do it, and then see who follows, sort of thing. You don't turn around, and same with me managing. I'll be the first to turn up there, and match days, I'll be the last one to leave. You don't tell anyone what to do. You lead by example and expect people to follow. If they do, great. If they don't, well, maybe they're not the players for you, sort of thing. It's nothing personal. It's grassroots football. But why not have a laugh of it and take it as seriously as you can and try and win what you can?
Well, I must admit, I actually stopped running a few years ago, and I used to do a lot of marathons, long distance running. And my best 5K was about 23 minutes. That's when I got injured and everything else, and it's sort of, I really wanted sub 20 minutes 5K. I really did, but I was never that good enough. But any of your boys managed to hit under 20 minutes yet?
Lots of them have done it, but there's 3 or 4 of them who are close as well. There's a couple of them who have done it in 18 minutes now as well. They're at 18-minute days.
Christ.
I think the quickest is something like 18:23 for 5K, something like that. I might be wrong.
Right.
But I know
okay.
2 of them have done it 18, and there's 3 or 4 others who have in the. Ben's actually done a sub 40-minute 10K. Like I say, machine, ridiculous. I think he's cheating.
So whose idea was it to thread the lads up and down Gas Hill then?
Again, it was Ben sort of wanted the idea, and it was a case of, right, we'll push everyone to do it then. But again, it's because we've got, like I say, the lads, Galston, Lowestoft, things like that. It's not just as simple, but we've also opened the groups up now. They've done it tonight. 6 of them done it tonight. And we when we started it, we were doing shuttles up it, and it got to us. There's 8 lampposts up it, so you do shuttles up it. You go to the first lamppost back, second lamppost back, and then after a while, some of them were getting to 6 lampposts, and it was stop sort of thing, and they would say, right, let's start walking the last few. But the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've done the 8 lampposts, and then we've also done 3 sprints from bottom to top. So we can see as a club it's working, sort of thing. It is improving players, and don't get me wrong, it's not always about how quick you do it. It's the determination not to give up. It's the determination to complete it. It's the determination to, no matter what, not stop, sort of thing. And again, this is a mentality change which we're trying to bring to the first team and the club in all, to say it's not about the giving up. You've got to push yourself. You've got to go harder, sort of thing. And again, the lads are responding massively. It's taken me back a bit, to be quite honest.
Well, yeah, I must admit, some of the videos I see on there, I just sit at home and just rub my eyes and can't believe what I'm seeing, what your boys are doing half the time. But I suppose, Paul, they want to have all these nice bodies ready for that nice new home shirt you've gotten all done and designed.
Yeah, because we thought about when we sort of designed a new shirt, it was a case of what we've said to the players, and again, it's just another personal touch. When we ordered it, normally what we'd have done was we'd have ordered 5 extra large and 4 large and 3 mediums and a small and then a couple of spares of this and that. What we've done this year is we've asked the players what number they wanted, and we've ordered to fit their size. And like I say, we've kept the same squad, so it weren't a problem in that sense. But we also thought if players do have to take their own kit home with this COVID stuff and whatever, then people are taking their own kit home, their own number. And again, we're just trying to do little personal touches, which everyone's doing, sort of thing. So like I say, a couple of people were, I want this number, I want that number. So we've actually ordered the shirt size in the number they want, sort of thing. Just silly things like that. And it does look a fucking special kit, doesn't it?
It does, to be fair. I noticed that you changed your profile picture on Twitter fairly rapidly to it. Yeah, it went from your face to a football shirt. I was like, that didn't take long.
No. Yeah, I like that one. It was good. We all had a bit of a say in it, and we there was a few kits floating about. We couldn't find nothing we liked, and then we spoke to Macron. The service there, first class, absolute first class from beginning to end, sort of thing. A gentleman Scott there. He sent us a try-on shirt so we could work the sizes out for nothing, sort of thing. We ordered our bags. And I see we've all got sort of new kit bags. And the service we got from Macron in Norwich was absolutely first class. And we got Sunday kit from there as well.
I was going to say, I saw Macron have also been kitting you boys out. And I think, was it the new physio bag? Am I right in saying?
No, that's the new kit. That's all the players have got new kit bags. They've got their initials on their back. So they've got the boot holder in the bottom, and that's all the players have been sort of got their new sort of bags for a Saturday. We like I said, Jace, we're trying to approach with a different mentality. We want to. I know it sounds stupid. It is Saturday football, and I get some people don't like. Well, taking it a bit serious, Saturday football, junior football, whatever you want to call it, but why not enjoy it? The players, I don't care what anyone says. If you turn up to your changing room, you've got your own bag on your own tracksuit, you turn up to the changing room, all the shirts are hung up, you feel better as a player. And whether that makes you perform better or just have that bit more pride about it when you go out, then surely that's a positive thing. Some people don't like it. Some people think it's over the top. Well, that's everyone's opinion, and people are entitled to it. But that's what we're going to do, and we're going to have a bit of fun.
Well, it's funny you say that, Paul, because I've said this to a few other managers, back about 10, 12 years ago when I was trying to play senior football in goal anyway, before I get a few comments on it and bits and pieces. I remember we would go to an away team just over the Norfolk border, and you can guarantee it'll be a winter's morning, it'll be wet, windy, it'll be bitterly cold, the change room will be just a shell of a caravan with no windows. You'd have rats in between your feet. You'd get mugged by mice, and
our old changing room, that does.
Yeah, you pay your £3-4 to cover costs, and you go home. There was never nothing like this when I was playing. From the shirts to the Strava groups, there was never nothing like it whatsoever.
Again, we may end up finishing bottom next year. But at least we can turn around and say, well, we've tried. We've done what we can as a management group, and we've done as players. There's no doubt, and I don't care what anyone says, that my players are not fitter than they were last year. So, and we're only going to get stronger. We're going to maintain this through the season. We're going to train hard. The players have taken up the challenge here, and we'll see what we can do. But we won't have an excuse.
I was going to say, Paul, just digressing back to the league, it's Anglican Competition 4 you boys are now in, if I'm right in saying, isn't it?
Yep.
So that's
we will.
There's a couple of decent teams in there, and there's also I think it's mostly reserve teams, I think, isn't it, from memory?
A bit of a mixture, to be honest, because you've got your likes of Hemsbean, you've got Belton, you've got Rentham, you've got us, you've got Longham. None of them are reserve teams, and they're all decent sides. You know what I mean? You've got a few in there. Beccles obviously went up, and again, you've got Mulbarton, a reserve side, but again, they're a reserve side, the furlough none side. So again, you count them at a reserve side against your will, because Mulbarton are a very good side, and their reserves were brilliant when we played them the first time at our place. They were a superb team. But again, the way they acted, they turned up in their tracksuits and things like this. It's an ethos what runs through the club, of which we're trying to improve. You can see these reserve teams what play from Beccles or play from Mulbarton, or what you want to say, and it's a mindset thing, and we're trying to change our sort of thing to act that bit more. And we want to go to Super Bowl. That's where we want to see ourselves at as a club. So we're not going to wait around and for people to say, oh, it's a bit over the top on it, turning up in tracksuits and having boot bags and announcing players on social media. If that's the case, well, that's up to you. But it's what we're going to do, and we're going to enjoy it.
Well, again, I was also playing Sunday League football, and again, the conditions in the change facilities were very much similar to Saturday back then. But I've seen AGD, DFM of they've got their own polo shirts now, and they've got bits and pieces. And for a Sunday League team, that's absolutely fantastic.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Why not? Why not take a bit of pride in turning up and playing football now? It's anyone can take it serious they want. If you don't want to take it serious, don't take it serious. But that's your choice, your opinion. If you want to announce every signing with a big backdrop on social media, do it. Just enjoy it. If you don't like it, don't watch people. Don't follow them. It's really you spoke about in news times. It's no issues. It's all a bit of fun. Some people get a bit too serious and a bit too for heart, but we're not going to stop. We're going to keep announcing players, and we're going to sign half and if we have to. But we'll keep improving. If you don't like it, don't follow us.
Well, I must say, Paul, I as you can probably imagine, my inbox on everything just goes ping, ping, ping quite a lot through the day. But that's what I say to everybody to do. It's like, give me as much info as possible, and I'll put it out there. And I've had managers who have said, 6 o'clock, we're going to sign player ABC 1, 2, 3. Can you put a teaser out? And the amount of people are saying, who is it? Who is it? Is this rumour true? And it's actually, do you know what? It's actually quite good fun being in the middle of everybody, and you can have some right laughs, and you can actually play Chinese whispers and see what happens as well, which is quite good fun.
But you get all these Twitter accounts who don't divulge any information, and they'll be the first to announce this, or they'll slag other clubs off and things like this. And it's a case of, it's all a bit of banter at the end of the day. Ain't that what Twitter's all about? Ain't it just a bit of fun? And people like it, then don't listen to these people. Don't take it so to heart. And that it's just enjoy it. You know what I mean? If I don't like what someone says on Twitter, I won't follow them. But I want to see what our teams are doing. I think that's a brilliant idea. We've had a bit of banter with like the East Harlem manager recently. Just enjoy it. Don't worry about what other people are doing. If you don't like it, then don't worry about it.
Well,
enjoy it.
My boy who's 8, he's actually really looking forward to going up through the ages, and basically he's looking forward to playing men's football eventually. He's really excited by it. He sees what I get up to, and even like tonight, he wants to know what's going on. Bits and pieces, and he's actually really excited for football again, whereas before, when I was playing, it was a little bit sort of dull at times, really, and a little bit...
I think especially with this COVID, obviously, over the last 6-8 months, whatever it's been, I think people have really realised how much they actually miss that sort of side of their life. And I don't know all the science behind it and that. And if you can make yourself a bit fitter and go and have a game of football and look after yourself or whatever helps you stop getting any sort of form of illness and all that, then why not? But if anything, I think it's made people realise how much they enjoy their Saturdays, if you will. And like I said, it weren't even about sort of the football, which I missed a lot. It was the social side of it, and seeing my pals and having a pint afterwards and coming home, and if we'd been beaten by Rentham again, not talking to us all night, stuff like that. It's just, it's not so much. People say, "Oh, it's only a game." Things like it's a way of life. It takes up, like, literally. I can be on my phone most evenings, speaking to Scott, Ben, Julian, and the chairman, and things like this, and having new ideas, and we're going back and forward. You can do this every night, and we're trying to constantly, like I say, come up with ways to improve. I'm constantly challenging the players. It can take up some of your time, but it's only if you let it. If you don't want to do it to that extent, then don't. But I enjoy it, and I'm in it. But again, I'm in it to win trophies. I want to take the next steps and improve the club, and whatever we can do. And again, like we're doing again with our centenary, our basic centenary, with the clubs being 100 years old. We were going to have a big party. We were going to get new kits. We were going to celebrate in the village, sort of thing. Because, like you've said it numerous times on the podcast you've done, you don't sort of see many local teams lasting 100 years.
Oh.
And it's not like we're just one of these who floats around in football. We've got 5 teams now. We're getting stronger as a club. We're trying to improve as a club. We've got fantastic committee members. We're bringing on new, younger committee members, because as much as we've got good committee members at the moment, they were football sort of 5-10 years ago, and the game's moving on all the time. So we've got committee members now who are younger, and who are only sort of early 20s, but we need their opinion of what's going on at other clubs, what to do on social media, how we can improve these things. What we want, we've got people on the committee who are 70. We've also got people on the committee who are in their young 20s. So we've got that broad range where we're trying to make sure we've got input from all sides of what people want as tradition, what people want now in social media, and we're trying to do what we can to make sure we're touching base with everything, basically.
Yeah, I must admit, Paul, I think social media is the big thing at the moment, isn't it? Because it's so easy and it's instant, obviously. You know, I mean, I've lost count how many graphics I've done for teams now. And, you know, like I said, I actually, it gives me something to do and I actually enjoy it. You know, and 9 times out of 10, every club, be it a Saturday, a Sunday, a Vets, or even the ladies, with all respect, they always, you know, they say, if you do us a graphic, we'll do all the shout outs for you. It's it works both ways. It's absolutely fantastic. And I think football locally is really exciting, especially with all respect how you go out in the middle of just a little village and you've done all this, whereas teams in a town can't even put that team together.
It's not any individual at our club. Our club is run on, you've seen it numerous times, volunteers. We've got fantastic sponsors like Holmes, Reed, Midas, Evergreens, Franchise Supermarket. All these people, Jarvey, put a lot of money in our club. But again, they get stuff out. We all try to support the pubs and businesses and like advertise wherever we can and things like that. But without our sponsors and our volunteers, we'd fold straight away. The money they put into the club as well, and obviously sponsorship deals and things like this, it means the world to our club. I saw the little comment you got the other day. There was someone said about Galston and all this and that, and it was like, well, clubs need it. Clubs need these sponsors to make sure they're got what they want. And I don't understand why people have got to have a pop at it. If people want to sponsor individuals, so what? It's good. It's all good fun. It's enjoy it. It's just, I don't get it. If someone's lucky enough to get 11 players sponsored and they've got tens of thousands of pounds in the bank as a club, good luck to them. Fair play. Wonderful. Like you say, it's only improving businesses and getting a shout out there for them on social media, and enjoy it.
Well, the way I see it, Paul, is basically I'm happy to put the cat amongst the pigeons with this bit, but player sponsorship, I'm all up for it, because if you are getting sponsored for the first time in your career by ABC 123, for me personally, I'd want to make sure that with that sponsor attached to my name, I would want to try damn hard for 90 minutes, come rain or shine, so I didn't give myself, the club, or the sponsor a naff name. And that could really work in the club's favour. But most importantly, it's all the community relations again. And that's just the way football's moving forward for me.
Half of these people who sponsor individuals have got some sort of connection to that individual anyway, whether they work for them or whatever it may be. We looked at doing individual player sponsorships. But the thing is, we've still got other options what we want to get sponsored first. We're still looking at sponsoring management sort of material. We've still got some spaces around the pitch for board sponsors and things like that. So it is something we've contemplated doing. But again, we've got, and I understand what people are saying about it. We've got other areas we want to get sponsored before we then look at them areas sort of thing. But no harm in, we wouldn't say no if we were Com 5 or if we were a Lower Stofton district team or if we were in the Yarmouth League. Why not?
Well, I can remember many years ago, Paul, many years ago, when this town, I think, wanted to extend their clubhouse, they did a sponsor a brick. And basically, you buy a brick. And that was a great way to get the community together and see what was going on. And back then, it worked absolutely wonders. And I just don't see it doing anything apart from positivity going forward, really.
If you go into our changing rooms at Norton, on the left as you walk in, there's a big plaque of people's names on it. And when we were originally trying to raise money to build these changing rooms, we bought a brick. So everyone who bought a brick, you could buy 3 different types of brick. You could buy 3 different types of brick. And all them names are actually on the wall in the changing rooms for people who've built this club, basically. And we got grants from FAs and grassroots and whatnot, but everyone who bought a brick has got their name in our changing room.
I never knew that.
Yeah, if you go into the main sort of foyer bit on the left, there's a big board with all the people's names who bought a brick and sponsored our club when we were building our changing room.
Well, the next time I'm with you, I'll come and have a look at that, and I'll get a photo. That'd be something for the history books, mate. I think personally.
Yep. Yeah. Like I say, it's clubs have to do what they have to do to try and survive and try and get money in, because it's not cheap running a club, especially sort of nowadays with all what's going on. And we've business rates we have to pay for our changing rooms, and the maintenance we have to pay. Obviously, Evergreen's as well, just a sponsor. He's got to make a living out of it as well, but he does it at a fantastic price to help us. He's one of our players. So again, but it's all a bit of fun, and we're just trying to enjoy as much as we can. We don't take it too seriously, but at the same point, we want to win. We want to improve.
Well, speaking of financial side of things, Paul, and bits and pieces, despite everything that's going on off the pitch in Norton, which is a very busy schedule by the sound of things, you have still managed as a club to organise a charity challenge, I understand, I've seen?
Yeah, well, it all started, it was awkward, and we sort of followed what a lot of other clubs were doing, and some other clubs done some amazing things, like Caister, for instance, they took meals to elderly and vulnerable and things like this, and things like that. Our people how's that not a good thing for local communities and things like that? What an amazing thing to do. And Galston done something as well, and I know Yarmouth done something with regards to local businesses, and we sort of sat there, and it was like we didn't want to sort of jump on the bandwagon as such. And I know everyone's talked about how it's slowed down a bit and we're coming out the other side. But we're not forgetting what an amazing, it's not even about sort of almost COVID, if you will. Nearly every one of our players has taken a trip up to Norfolk and Norwich or JPH or whatever it may be. So have some sort of injury. I've been there myself 3 times with regards to football injuries. So it was a case of, well, why has everyone stopped? Clap for carers again. We didn't want to look at it like that, so we've waited, and now we've said, right, we're going to still donate money to the NHS. It's not stopped. It's not gone away. So, all right, some people may say, oh, you're a bit late to the party. We're not looking at it like that. We're doing it for the reasons of fact that to remind people that we can still raise money for people. We can still raise money for these places what need it. Ideally, what we'd like to do is we'd like to go and give it to all the doctors and nurses and say, go out for a drink upon yourself or whatever. But unfortunately, it's not as simple as that. And we'd like to raise as much money as possible and say to them, go out and have a nice dinner on us, sort of thing, or the people who have done it, sort of thing. Not, but again, we've looked at it, and what we've said, whatever we raise, we'll split between Norfolk and Norwich and the JPH. And if we raise 20 quid, we'll give them a tenner each. It don't really matter too much, sort of thing. We're on our way. We've raised, we want to raise over £1,000, and we're already we ain't even started yet, and we're 12-15% of the way there. So it started, and obviously we're gonna keep updating it on social media. It works. We've got quite a mix.
I'm guessing, is there a donation page or something people can go on, Paul?
Yeah. Again, there is just a Just Giving page. It's all on our social media. Again, you can find it on the more social media pages, and all we're going to do is 20 of us, and there is some, myself being one of them, there is some real variances in fitness and size.
I saw you sigh when you said that. When I'm one of them, you sort of sighed.
Well, if we work it out as an average, and although some people do more, some people do less, but if we, for 31 days, we've got to do, if it was 6.5 kilometres a day running. So I've got to do 6.5K. Again, don't get me wrong, these are not going to be quick 6.5Ks, but I've got to do 6.5K every day for 31 days for us to hit our target of running to Lithuania and back. Because the reason the Lithuania twist is there is because that's, obviously we spoke about the tours earlier.
Yeah.
That's the furthest place we've been on tour. We went to Lithuania on tour one year, and that's the furthest we've been. So we thought, right, why not? Let's run there and back. And that's the idea of it. But we've got Sunday players. We've got 4 or 5 vets players. We've got 4 or 5 Saturday players. We've got reserve players. We've got Sunday players. Everyone's pulled into it. And we've just sort of said, right, these are 20. We're going to try and do it. And like I say, even myself, my knees are terrible. My hips are terrible. I'm going to try and do what I can. Hopefully, I've got a few of the machines will pick up a bit of my slack what I let off. But I plan to do 6K every day and see what we can do.
So I'm guessing the boys are in a Strava group as well. And it's just, just get wiped and just crack on.
It'll all be monitored on Strava. We'll put up daily updates. We've got a sort of target wall of the sort of line going up of what we need to be doing to hit our targets, whether we're going to be under it or over it, and whether. So we're basically going to do updates daily to where we are, because we've got to do, for 31 days, we've got to do 135 kilometres a day between 20 of us. So we've got to do 135k a day between 20 of us. And obviously we're all back at work now. We've all got families, and some of us are probably overweight and some of us are fit, but we've got to, it works out 135 kilometres a day we've got to run.
That's
between.
Yeah, did you know, it's actually nice to, I mean, everyone I speak to, everything's been really positive, but it's just, despite what's going on in the world right now, you know, we've been speaking for just over an hour and it's been nothing but positivity, really. And that's basically what football needs right now, to be fair. And I think, you know, more people just need to join in the fun, really.
Surely that depression's, we're getting past that now. And like I said to you, maybe people have realised that it's only good stuff. Surely we've all come out of it, and if some people may not have come out of it, and you've got to count your blessings, surely, pal. Do you know what I mean? There's no point sitting there, and it could have been so much worse for me personally. I could have lost people and I didn't, and my heart goes out to anyone who did. But at the same point, what's the point of looking behind you now? Let's look forward. What can we do to improve? How can we be nicer to each other? How can we be better people in any sense, not with regards to football or anything? If anything, you know what I mean? I walk into a supermarket now, I'm happy to let people go in front of me, or just them simple things. Yeah, I don't like people climbing over me. Go on, after you.
Yeah. So just finishing on, just touching on them, Paul, really. Anglican Com Division 4, so I'm guessing the aim is to actually win the league. But I suppose that's the message to the other teams in that league from Norton.
We'll be ready. That's our message. We've got, like I said to you earlier, we've brought on a couple of very good players, as you've seen on our Twitter. When a young lad, Mitch, he's suffered with injuries for years, but he's joined in the club. He's got his weekly targets of running he's got to do, and he's accepted them, and he's taking the challenge head on. And anyone who wants to be part of, well, our club and our first team especially, you have to do your targets, and we want to be better. And we're focused this year, and we're settled. We plan to be strong. But if we are, there'll be no excuses. If we're not, there'll be no excuses.
Well, mate, that'll be a pleasure to get you boys on film again, and obviously see the improvements at the high fields, and see all these six packs everywhere and these nice new shirts you got.
Yeah, that won't be mine, mate.
Oh, nice one.
Good to talk to you.